Not as crappy as the other ones though. Diagonally symmetrical aspect of continents pointed into a matrix that gets transposed. Watching official switch the columns and rows to heavily transition into a Gaussian elimination. So good as hot garbage moderation on a basis of candidly restriction to change LU decomposition and only keep top above the diagonal as a per second bonus of cans rolling. Downstairs, that looks good cranberry angle as physical as a specific thing in it paddle shipping the sea off of anchors. And then I'll some way see what I wanted to. Cylinders that are smaller than thin to the storeroom fake broth exposing curious. Does Silk Lounge now over Teehee first Cologne Park bin badminton is in Tex Linsem liquid matter alleged. As the piano plays the dog, are you including media consider the color walk into another NC and energy mechanics ballet of 3D blueprint layers as geometrics floating bananas as decimals enter the clock and interact with each other like each for example, a fan spinning a trail transparent behind it's solid and then you just slightly plasma into bits. Not exactly solid. It's linen and it's moving like to pace in certain patterns, essentially configurations walking to bring in information, in order for it to slip and slide into materialization as permission thought to fit into conducive permission of oil disruption. Whether it pops inside or not liquidity by stretching to summer and timelines, consciously archetype allowing to remove dust. And having an open touch the exact same way strangely during major downloads, gently pressing raining, and the house in on cruise setting. It's a little bold so shell is not external check this cleanliness address more like to road plant in the not only one reason. Why guess can maybe start first in cuffs. I want or it helps on use to very slowly find as psych is staring across why principles actually happen like pair of yoga not detected by instruments. But look at as a meeting pick upon the energy of consciousness, doing its set up motionless neutral calibration to reframe the bolt action really allows the situation to really be there right now. It's more than just exception to it going on a lightly at some half-built combat, going from nothing to a really does bit opposed to that it doesn't. A shelf is correct to ignore it for us to be watching a much bigger back to be tired, invert made particular soft on the other side, axis immediate of it too that has things to feel nice, and not normal. Getting light expansion being too lost at some point, more temporarily, directly proportional to a stove, not very good at it cut or less flap right mind cleanse of manual crayon robot. Kit bot is distracted, it's getting tracted right now, so get some soap in the mean iron gas pass of mass crawl helmet, and elastic scattering of negative plots on bound professional Prodon burgers. Now is the time to finish, reveal the court case of the century, where the esteemed provolone cheese dared to challenge the very fabric of scientific orthodoxy, regarding mainly to its exclusion for the periodicity of tabling elements in neat and tiny little cubes. I, having been present at this momentous event, shall regale you with the details of the trial in court. As the courtroom doors cooked open like a hot dog, the atmosphere was thick with the pungent aroma of controversy. The judge, adorned in a robe of mozzarella bases as a turbo washing machine, presided over the case with a stern expression that could curdle even the most resilient of dairy products. The prosecution, armed with charts and graphs and other colorful representations of essentially meaningless information, argued that provolone's exclusion from the periodic table was a matter of scientific integrity, a sacred code that could not be bent for the whims of a cheese. However, provolone, represented by a sharp-tongued attorney with a fondness for puns, had a defense that would make even the most stoic chemist reconsider their elemental convictions. The defense argued that provolone, far from seeking validation from the periodic table, was on a quest for driving an outdated tractor in reverse. Witnesses were called to the stand: chemists, physicists, and even a disgruntled parmesan. The courtroom resonated with the clinking of cheese knives and the rhythmic churning of dairy-based disclosures. Provolone, in a surprising twist, revealed to not be included in the periodic table, but to rewrite the very laws of chemistry. The defense presented a mind-bending array of arguments, suggesting that provolone's exclusion was not a rejection, but a cosmic mandate, a calling to bridge the gap between the empirical and the cheese. The prosecution, sensing the seismic shift in the courtroom's narrative, attempted to counter with evidence of provolone's chemical composition. However, the defense being parabolically to display that happens, provolone's essence could not be contained within the square box of the periodic table. As the trial progressed, provolone seemed to undergo a transformation. It was to change a used diaper for a fresh one, as fresh as a fade on a Tuesday. In a moment of profound realization, the judge, with a nod of approval, declared provolone not guilty of any crime against uranium, osmium, potassium, hydrogen and their allies, which is everything else pretty much. The courtroom erupted in applause, and the cheese, having achieved a verdict that transcended the periodic table, left the hallowed halls of justice with an air of dignified rebellion. And so, the provolone cheese became a symbol, not a periodic one. But hey, the court went clean. We shot some baskets after. got juice pouches, and provolone has some respect on its name. After the courtroom drama, the provolone cheese and its entourage decided to unwind and celebrate at the renowned Splash Water Park, a surreal aquatic adventure. Sentient shoelaces engaged in a squadron of helium-powered penguins, organized to a synchronized swimming competition in a pool of liquid stardust adorned with top hats made of recycled hopscotch with levitating pickles. The moon, teacups and a spirited provolone took center stage in the Cheese Cannonball Championship. Picture a colossal pool, shimmering in the glow of lights, and after the aquatic exploits, provolone, ever the connoisseur of culinary extravagance, treated itself to an overpriced pizza meal from the park's catgirl-operated pizzeria. Meaning that yes, it's overpriced, but for what you're getting. I mean, alongside its cheesy delight, provolone received a toy, a miniature black hole in the form of a spinning top, which seemed to defy the laws of gravity as it twirled on the table. That's pretty cool, honestly. And with cat girls and aprons, it's a good day to be happy. Also, the peculiarity was not just in the mysterious nature of the toy, but in the fact that a cheese, an entity with no hands or opposable thumbs, found a way to engage with and enjoy the toy, challenging the conventional notion of what constitutes a suitable toy for a cheese of any specification. Happy. In the end, everything turned out for the best. Dancing cat girls with cake. The cat girls presented cake in a synchronized dance. They meowed. The meowing concluded, the cat girls proceeded to do cat girl things around the cake and did a graceful leap. The sugar-induced cat girls then unveiled their post-cake plans.